Hey church, welcome back to Hendo at Home. My name is Justin, I'm one of the pastors here at First Baptist, and I'm standing in one of my favorite places in Henderson County. I'm standing on top of Jump Off Rock in Laurel Park. I love coming here. It's so peaceful, it's beautiful. We get this incredible view of the Blue Ridge Mountains, and to me it's just worshipful, this opportunity to see God for who He is. And when I'm up here, I can't help but think about Psalm 19. And so what I want to do is I want to read you some of Psalm 19 today. It says this, it says, "The heavens declare the glory of God, and the sky above proclaims His handiwork. Day to day pours out speech, and night to night reveals knowledge. There is no speech, nor are there words, whose voice is not heard. Their voice goes out through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. In them He has set a tent for the sun, which comes out like a bridegroom leaving his chamber, and like a strong man runs its course with joy. Its rising is from the end of the heavens, and its circuit to the end of them, and there is nothing hidden from its heat." You know, I don't think you can read this passage and stand up here without being just overwhelmed by who our God is and what He has done in His creation. You see, you look at the mountains and you see His power in the rising up. You look at the skies and you see the vastness of who our God is, that He is greater than all those things. And David does the same thing. If I can imagine, he's sitting in his palace and he's looking out over the world and looking over the mountain ranges of Jerusalem, and he writes that the heavens declare the glory of God. And what we see in this verse, in this psalm, is that knowledge of what God has done causes a response in David. When he sees God in His creation and then he sees God in His word, he writes this at the very end of the verse, of the psalm. He says, "Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in your sight, O Lord, my rock and my redeemer." After viewing God in His vastness and in His glory and His greatness, and then seeing God's word for the truth and the purity that it is, his only response is, "God, let my words and my mouth and my heart be pure unto you." I ask you today, when you look at God's creation and you see Him for who He is and you see His word for what it is, does that same kind of emotion come out in you? Does that same desire come out in you? I think we have a great opportunity right now in the fall, in one of the most beautiful places on earth, to let this verse ring true in our hearts. I want to challenge you with two things this week. First, take some time this week to take a walk, or to come up here to Jump Off Rock, or to do a hike onto one of our waterfalls, or even just view pictures of this area and let yourself just worship God. Just glorify Him for who He is, to see Him in His vastness, to see Him in His greatness. But then second of all, what does it look like for you this week to desire for your words and your heart to be pure before Him? That, God, I want what comes out of my mouth to glorify You. God, I want the thoughts that I have to bring You honor and to bring You joy and to bring You glory. Because God, I know how great You are. I see it in Your creation. I see it in Your word. So therefore, God, let that be what comes out of my heart. I think we look different as Christians. I think we can view even Jump Off Rock different as Christians. So church, let that be our response this week. Thank you.